Welcome back, guys. Ghetto Rig episode 237. We do have a surprise for you, surprise guest for you, which is going to be a badass. So stay tuned. Open your ears open. Keep your ears open. Anyway, our sponsors, UFC Gym Largo, St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is about to open up July 12th. It's official. So they're opening up. They're putting equipment together. Equipment is basically all stat. I don't think they can see me, can they? Yeah, there we go. Now they can. So the equipment is already going in. Then Vitality 1 and 2.
For a second.
Stream Deck did. Throw it out the window. But yeah, so without further ado, we brought Matt back. And the reason...
Number 3.
Number 3, yes.
Number 3.
Yes, he's probably like... You probably should get one of those cards, like, when you stamp that for you.
Oh, that would be nice.
And then, on the 10th one, we give you like a gift or some shit. I don't
free
know.
coffee.
Yeah. But today I wanted to talk about AI because Matt's been big in the business. So Matt, how's the business going? Because I know you've been like making some strides with that. Because last I talked to you, you're like, man, I'm growing so fast. I had to like put a stop to this for a minute, and then like now I'm actually ready to ramp it up.
Yeah.
So how's that going?
Business is great. And I put a pause on things at that time. Terrible decision because we had great momentum, and then we're like, okay, I don't want anything to break, so I pulled back our sales, and we should have just kept going. We should have just kept scaling. So we still grew. I think we've doubled in revenue over the last 10 months, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but we're ready. Like, we can internally handle probably like 3-4 times more. So we're good. Yeah, things are going well. And just for a quick recap, so I do digital marketing specifically for the green industry, which is like lawn care, landscaping, hardscapers, irrigation companies. So very niche focused.
Irrigation companies, like from what I understand, there's not a lot of people that do irrigation, and the ones that actually do it, they're doing very well, right? That's my understanding, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of companies that offer irrigation in addition to what they're already doing. Not a ton of like dedicated irrigation companies. There are, though. We noticed that more of our companies that offer irrigation actually stop offering like irrigation installs, and they just want to do maintenance and repairs. A lot easier, get in and out, less overhead, just make a lot more money real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to this kid that opened his own irrigation company, and he was saying that there's like literally he's like one of the very few in the entire county. I think there's like he said there's like 5 people, and I'm one of the 5 that does actually dedicated irrigation because there's no one wants to do it.
Why is it then?
I don't know. I guess it's just like you said. Maybe there's a lot of work, a lot of overhead.
Yeah. From installation side, yeah, there's not a. I mean, I guess I'm in the industry, so I'm only talking to these guys, so I see them all over the place because I know where to look. But there's far more people that just do repairs than do installations as well. So yeah,
I gotcha.
Good money though.
I think it's also easier to get better at one specific like thing and then like just dominate that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the biggest change that I did. My first time coming on this podcast, I had my first agency. I was still like rocking and rolling in that one. We were a generalist agency. We just served businesses. Now we've obviously cut out 99% of all the businesses in the U.S. and now we just focus on one type. We specialize in that. We know everything that's related to that industry. So we know we're the best at offering our services for them. We speak their lingo. We know how their customers search. We know everything about their industry and how to make them succeed in a pretty blue-collar industry, succeed online. So it's a match made in heaven. Yep.
It's weird. Like, our business was kind of the opposite, like, through its lifetime. Focusing really on mostly, like, fishing and water-related stuff and mostly, like, really fishing. So, like, tackle shops and people that had fishing products that, like, invented something and were trying getting it out there. Things like power poles for boats or motors, stuff like that. And then eventually branching off and doing other things as well on top of that. So it's interesting to see literally the opposite, basically.
Yeah, I could see where, and I get this from many people where it's like, oh, well, why don't you also do something else? Like, why don't you start doing plumbers too and just slowly introducing like new niches? Yeah, I guess you could, but there's still so much to grow within this industry that
Yeah.
I'm and I'm having such a good time, and like I don't want to get massive in terms of tons of customers. I like building the relationships with the customers I have now, and it's just been really fruitful for everybody involved. So
It goes to show how diversely you can go about it.
yeah,
Right. I mean, yours is strictly like digital marketing, like as you said, right? So you don't necessarily have like a team that goes out and creates content. It's more about like managing the marketing side and everything that has to do with that. Not
well,
necessarily,
we
like,
create content. We
Yeah.
do create content. We don't go like film and shoot.
right.
Mostly because, I mean, we're working with companies all across the U.S. And
Gotcha.
so just overhead-wise, it would make sense for us to fly out a team and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I know there are some agencies that do that. But yeah, we usually, like, we will help them, like, procure a photographer in their area and tell
Right.
that photographer exactly how to shoot everything.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
okay.
we won't go do that. But yeah, we'll help coordinate all that and then utilize that content, build our own content. And, I mean, we'll get to it later, but, like, AI created content now, it's getting really good. It's getting
Yeah.
really realistic, so
Mhm.
that's helping.
I
So
can't
yeah,
get
maybe we can start doing
I
that.
can't get enough of fucking Bigfoot and
Oh, yeah,
photos
yeah,
on
yeah.
my page. It's
Yeah,
fucking
that's
hilarious. But yeah, because like that's kind of how we do it, and even flying across the country. Actually, we just sent a guy to South Carolina like this
Nice.
morning. But like a lot of the stuff is mostly local, and what I mean local is like within the Florida.
Uh-huh.
Like our boss is actually in Destin, Florida right now, like
Okay.
the Panhandle. But mostly stuff like within Tampa Bay or like an hour and a half away. But yeah, like I said, it just goes to show like how diverse you can go about like the same, almost kind of like the same industry, really,
Yeah.
marketing.
I wasn't sold on like dedicating to one niche for a while. I didn't really do it until 2022, and it was when I saw this one girl, and she's kind of like in my agency space now. I'm pretty like connected with other agency owners in different niches. This one girl just focuses on companies that clean garbage cans. Like her niche
That's a
is
real
companies that
fine
clean
niche, yeah.
garbage cans, and she's crushing it, absolutely crushing it. Like
Okay.
really
That's-
already
that's a-
like
that's a
Wait,
built
real,
a
what
like-
garbage
seven-figure
cans are
agency
they
off of that.
cleaning?
It's so
They-
she markets for so she helps companies that clean garbage cans. She does their marketing for them.
Well, I didn't know there are companies that
I
exist
didn't
that have garbage
either,
cans.
dude. I didn't either. That was like what blew my mind. So I didn't know that until I started looking it up, and I'm like, oh no, there are a bunch, and yeah, she just does.
I've heard of that service before. I didn't know it was that big though.
Yeah.
So what garbage can we talking about? These people work with the state and then just like clean out the garbage cans on like bus stations and shit.
No, I'm talking
No.
like the ones that you'd like drag down to the
your own
end of the
can.
driveway.
People, that's a
Oh, like
service
the
that
big
people
green
pay
ones.
for.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Like apartment complexes and shit. Maybe the big.
No.
No.
No,
Like
no,
he's talking about
homeowners.
like your personal garbage. Like
Yeah.
for example, I have an alley, so I have the big one, but it's different.
What,
But, like
somebody will come in and wash my garbage can?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, you can pay.
that's a service, bro.
But why would you
I
want to
don't
wash
know.
the
Is
garbage
it appropriate
can?
to jump on a phone
Yeah, do your
during this?
thing.
But I
Do
want
your
to
thing.
show you like
Yeah, like that's
garbage can cleaning company.
Mickey, pull that shit up.
Yeah, like here's one, Mr. Clean Bins. No affiliation. It's not sponsored.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you-
this is what they do. They just come around and they'll clean it and then they just dump it. And they got like a monthly service.
So they monthly come in, clean your garbage can, and leave.
yes.
Yeah,
People don't like their shit to stink sometimes or whatever, or it gets dirty or whatever.
It's a fucking garbage can. It's supposed to stink
yeah,
and be
that's
dirty.
that's the way that's the way we look at it. But some people want their shit clean. I've heard of that. I didn't know it was like.
I
I
forget
knew
we
there
live
was.
in a first world country, baby.
I knew
forget
there was
that.
like companies that offered that, but I didn't think it was that big. Like
to the
you know,
point where
to-
they're
there's
like,
a niche
they,
for
they come
someone
in. It
doing the
looks like a
marketing.
normal like they put it in there.
Oh,
but it's
they
like,
even got the machine and everything
yeah,
for this.
and then
Yeah.
but it just cleans it. It just like shoots water and soap into it, and then boom comes out and it's all clean. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when I found out this girl was like doing marketing for these companies across the U.S. and she's built like a 7-figure agency just doing ads for them. I'm like, oh man, you can do it for anybody. You can.
Yeah.
There's they always say there's riches in the niches.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you this because you said you had a pretty good momentum in the beginning and then you pulled the brakes. What were
Yeah.
you doing different then and what you're doing different now? Or is it just it was really the same thing?
I was pretty small, like scrappy team.
I gotcha.
Phew, I want to say at the beginning of even this year, I think I had like 6, 7 employees, and then I jumped up to 16. So we grew pretty quick as a team, and at that point, I'm like, okay, well, let's turn on that sales machine. And so now we're just like, okay, we can take more and more and more and more. But it's also like, it's not as easy as just turning on the sales machine and saying, hey, we want more. Because I specifically do a call. I do a 2-call close. My first call is every single time, like, I know the questions to ask if they're going to be a right fit, like, as a company. So on paper, would they fit? Like, can we help them, sort of thing? I can figure that out real quick, real easy. That first call I always do, it's just a personality test. I just want to talk to this person, see like, hey, will we work together well?
Do you call them, or there's already like a...
No, they schedule it to meet with me or
well, how
one
do
of my
they find
sales
you?
guys. Facebook ads, sometimes just referral, word of mouth.
Gotcha.
People will find us, yeah.
And then you make that for... So it's a warm call. It's not really a cold call. They're actually looking for someone that's going to do all this for them.
Yeah.
And then you do the first call, and then... where the profile matches, and then actually the second one, let's just get this going.
Yep, that's pretty much it. A little more detail than that.
Yeah. So okay, so now because you grew so big, it's not that you're doing anything differently. It's just more like getting like the momentum to start running again versus just kind of like walking or fast walking.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of seasonality when it comes to my industry too. Our season is the opposite of our client season. We're not usually taking on any new clients when they're at their busiest. It's usually when they're at their slowest that they're like, okay, we need to do some marketing. We need to figure it out. So
that makes sense.
Usually like when they're slow, like our busy sales season starts the day after Thanksgiving and goes up to basically April 1st.
So it's kind of like Florida restaurants, basically.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, Florida restaurants get fucking after Mother's Day is dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all the way till Thanksgiving, and then it picks up again.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because all the Northerners come down in there.
Oh,
No, that makes sense. But now, okay, so you've been doing a lot of work with AI. How did the AI come? Did you jump on board with AI right away? Were you like excited about it right away, or it was just kind of a slow?
It was interesting. I remember when I was first like getting this started, and I was adding more clients. I'm like, man, we need to make some good content. And so I hired this company to help with my content writing, and then the way their the pay scale thing worked is like I could pay per content, or if I paid in ahead of time, I can get everything at a pretty big discount. So I spent a ton of money on like, hey, we're gonna need years worth of content here. The 2 weeks after I just dumped a ton of money into this content writing company, they introduced ChatGPT.
Oh shit!
And I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And so yeah, yeah. So whatever. But yeah, ever since then I've been like big on the AI train. Can you
go to ChatGPT, please?
All of my employees know. I've spoken to them about this because they were very, very worried about their jobs, as should pretty much everybody in a white collar job. Everybody like. AI's gonna get to a point where
it is. It is.
It'll do the podcast for us, guys.
Yeah. You're not gonna just tell it to do a podcast on this topic and
I've told all the employees, I'm like, you don't have to worry about your job as long as you can master AI in your role.
Yeah.
And so they all know that, and they're all great at it. They all come to me frequently. Hey, I just made this custom GPT. It can help us do this faster, this better, this cheaper. With this much more accuracy, so they're great at it, and so yeah, it's been fun. So it's a mandatory thing. Like if you don't know, if you're not at least intermediate at your AI usage, like I won't hire you.
Yeah, because the AI is the future. That's period. And I think what's his name?
It's now.
Ty Lopez.
It's not even future.
Ty Lopez is literally on Instagram advertising, like AI. He's literally advertising AI. Like right now on Instagram, he's saying, hey, listen, learn fucking AI. Make money with AI is the future. And Ty Lopez has been known for like always being kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to things. And he's basically made his money from zero.
I always feel like he's always ahead of the marketing something curve.
Yes, yeah.
Because he's not like...
If you look
he's not a pioneer by any means.
No, he's not.
But he's probably the loudest person.
Yeah. And if you look it up on ChatGPT, Miggy, type in... Who has had most paid ads on Meta?
Oh, I bet Grant Cardone. I'm gonna put Grant Cardone
I don't know.
or anything related to his companies. Okay, Timu. Oh well.
No, a person, not a company. A person. What person? And I think Ty Lopez said
I always
that
love
he's the
watching
first
other
one.
people use ChatGPT because it's so different than the way I use it. Okay, so there's the political spending. Say non-political. Cristiano Ronaldo. What?
Instagram earners. Why is it giving you
Oh.
earners now?
Meta is Instagram.
Yeah, what you saying? It says earners. Not we're saying who spent.
Oh,
Who spent the most, right? That's what you're looking
Yes,
for.
spent
Yeah.
the most in marketing on Instagram. What person spent the most on or who has most ads on marketing ads on Instagram?
wait, I don't know.
What person has the most marketing ads?
What person has the most
Marketing ads
marketing ads
on Instagram.
on Instagram?
Yeah, and I guess Ty Lopez was saying he's number one when it comes to
Okay.
this. I don't know, but Grant Cardone is right up there because I see him quite frequently as well. What the
Yeah.
Yeah, just giving you earners again.
Yeah.
It gave you the J. Bottom line, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Stop asking
Stop
me.
asking.
yeah.
Oh shit.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. So the point is that he's talking about AI and how AI is literally the future, which I can see how AI could be the future because right now, me being cheap, I don't want to pay for any services to create the videos for me and things like that, do the edits and this and that. So I'm kind of doing that on my own. But I can see literally a basic video editing tool. You throw your video in, it'll cut out all the ums,
Mm-hmm.
reshape the video, resize everything, do your hard cuts so it looks all seamless, and then give it back to you.
So something interesting that's already happened. So with AI, like I'm sure everybody's noticed how quick things are moving. It's almost getting to the point where it's moving away from AI in some capacity for some things. So the whole like video editing, okay, remove the ums and whatever's, the spaces in betweens. People want those now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes it sound realistic. It's a actual person. It's not like a perfectly polished video every time. So now it's getting back to the point. It's like definitely leave those ums and ahs in there. Otherwise, you sound too polished and you don't sound relatable. So, yeah, I just read a book from his author's name is Marcus Sheridan. It's called Endless Customers, and the whole concept is all around AI. Not the whole concept, but a lot of the concepts are around AI. But the whole concept is all about being the most human, because that's what's going to end up winning. Because everybody's going to end up using AI, so it's not going to be a matter of like, oh, do you use AI or not? No, everybody will use it. Like otherwise, you die. It's going to be like the same thing as like, are you on the internet? Well, you better be, otherwise you die. So, Are you using AI? Okay, yes, everybody's obviously going to do it. But are you sounding human? Are you looking human? Are you coming off as human? That's who people are going to want to work with.
Okay, so now talking
Still
about
using AI. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't use AI. You can even use AI to say, how do I sound more human? That's kind of the scary part, because AI knows how to sound human.
So the number one thing with AI that I found very quickly is that I couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do. Like I had this idea in my head and I couldn't get it to do what I had to do. And then I had a conversation with you, and then I just took that and literally started having a conversation with AI, right? And it helped me literally build the prompt. At first I was doing like very basic stuff, basically asking what are the questions that I'm not asking you, what else questions should I ask you, things like that. But then you were like, no, just kind of tell it what you wanted to do. And then it ends up building a prompt. The first prompt it built, it was okay, and then after that it slowly like developed and evolved into something completely different now, but which does the job. Still does it not perfectly, but does the job. And then the coolest thing was like it helped me create a fucking shortcut where I don't have to fucking save this anywhere. I can just go to my shortcuts, tell it exactly where I want it to be posted, and then it just gives me the copy to the clipboard. I drop it in AI and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Like now, what I'm having questions or hard time with is consistently, like every step of the way, I almost have to tell it, go do deep research. Go do deep. Otherwise, it starts hallucinating and giving me like assumptions and shit,
Okay.
which I don't like.
Sure.
Right. Even though in the beginning it says everything needs to be researched, and then within like 1, 2, 3, 4, I still have to say research.
Yeah, you're just getting down to memory capacity limits from ChatGPT itself. I mean, you don't have unlimited with a $20 subscription, so you would have to like get their top tier package for it to actually like always go back and reference like all the past conversations. I think there's even, I know it's on like some of them. There's a disclaimer on the bottom that says too long of chats, it will start forgetting stuff.
Really, I've had mine remember stuff from, I wouldn't say weeks, but definitely days old of like making captions for certain things, or like for example, just being able to tell it like the name of the business and it knowing exactly what the business does.
And it'll remember.
Hey, that's until you clear the memory. The minute you clear the memory, it's done.
You should never clear the memory.
I never clear the memory.
Yeah. So there's two different types of memory that it'll have. It'll have memory from your current conversation, and then it'll have memory of like kind of like all of the macro ones.
Yeah.
And I think it even says when it's choosing to remember something. It's like, oh, I know that you're with this company, and so I'm saving that. So like it'll remember some like macro stuff, but to the point of like if he has some very specific task that he's given it, over time it's gonna miss some nuances in there.
I wanted to ask you.
Sorry to interrupt you, Eddie, but do you think government employees are using ChatGPT to plan Iran attacks?
No, I don't think they.
Maybe that's how they leak.
They can. I don't think they can do that.
Field.
Because see, here's the thing with government. Government right now has the contracts with Palantir. Palantir is literally like blowing up in the stock market.
Sorry, I almost fucking throw this podcast off the rails.
Yeah, I don't think it was a legit question, Jay.
No. Like, this is literally. I'm gonna tell you what it is. So yes, the government is using AI, but they're using Palantir's AI, which was clear for the government because we have that at my work as well. I cannot use ChatGPT. As a matter of fact, if I go access ChatGPT, it will not allow me. It will block the page. But company internally has implemented their own AI that you can copy, paste, add information to the AI, and then it'll give you the response back. But that one is a little more polished. So I'm guessing they have people that are there that are teaching it, like how to understand what you're saying in like 2 words, because they understand like the majority of people are not going to understand that you have to put a prompt, right? Like they have to teach it how to kind of understand you from like 2 words, right? And it does give decent data, but when I tried to do what I'm doing with ChatGPT to give me a better data, it just spitting out the same answer. Yeah. It's not going further. You know what I mean? So it's very limited. So I'm thinking that Palantir also has some sort of a version of it that government can use, but I don't think they'll be able to access ChatGPT on government computers. Are they doing it outside of, in their own home computer, maybe, you know what I mean, on their phone?
So what I wanted to ask you is like, because we have a lot of tasks with doing marketing stuff. Is there something that when a new task approach or something you maybe have already been doing for a while, is there like a red flag of a certain problem when you're approaching it that tells you, oh, I can use AI for this?
Can you give me an example? Is there a certain red flag?
What I mean by that, like for example, with our jobs, what we do at work, right? Most of it consists of going, shooting content, taking pictures, taking video, coming back to the office, editing it, and then posting it, making descriptions, captions, thumbnails, making graphics, things like that, right? And to my extent, as of right now, I don't really use it for anything else except for like making captions and descriptions, and that's really much about it. Just because anytime I've tried to use it to make like an actual graphic, it sacks it like really bad. Like even though like the thing can have perfect grammar spitting out text on a graphic, it'll put 2 letters next to each other at the same time. Like it's weird. Like it doesn't abide by any of the rules I tell it to do. Or for example, I have a client that we're working with that we take pictures of their firearms that they're selling, and we have to take high resolution pictures of them. Then take them back to the office, edit them, cut them out by hand, and then put them on a template, 4 different angles with 2 tights of the gun and all this stuff. And it takes a lot of time. It's not really something that you need a lot of brain power for, but it's just tedious work, right? I've tried getting it to get like giving it the template, like the PSD even from Photoshop, going as deep as that, and all those things, and it won't give me like a 1-to-1 reference, which I
Yeah.
did see like what Jay was trying to do. It did give him a 1-to-1, but even with something like mine, it's so picky. Like, for example, some of these guns are antique and they'll have blemishes on them. Like, it has to look exactly what it is, and I just don't trust it to do that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
No, it won't. I in my space, yeah, if you go to any of the AI image creators, if you ask it to make a riding lawnmower, it has no idea how to make one.
Really?
Yeah, it'll come up with the most crazy looking contraption. So
I heard it does the same thing for cars.
yeah, and
Doesn't
so
know
it's
what the
definitely
full
not.
car is.
Images, careful. Definitely
Yeah.
be careful on that one. But so is like your main question, like kind of basically like, is there anything that you probably shouldn't be using AI for just because it's not good enough yet or not ready yet or?
That could be part of it. So, like, I'm just trying to figure
Nick,
out,
you
like,
pull up
what can I
Discord?
approach all the different things that I do? Because there's so many little tasks that we have to handle. What can I approach
So-
and maybe make quicker with AI? Like, for example,
So here, I think I might
I
have
did
an
see
answer to you.
something that I need to try out because I
Copy
just
this
started
whole
a big
thing,
video
including the
project
picture,
with,
and throw it in
over
ChatGPT.
like I think over 12 videos and a bunch of photos and stuff. And I did see that I saw they released one to help you cull
Picture
through
too.
all the different things.
We gotta do it
right. So
separately,
basically,
though.
like if I'm
You gotta do it
right now,
separately.
I got footage from 4 different cameras and like 8 different SD cards, so it's scattered all over the place,
Yeah.
right? And so when I throw it in Premiere, and every time I try and like, okay, I know that I found the main part of the video, but like the B-roll, like some of it's up here and some of it's down here, and I did see there was like an AI to implement
And then add
like
the
a
picture
plugin
now.
into Premiere
See that
that
plus
you can
sign?
search like, oh, gun or shotgun, and
Yeah.
it'll kind of like give you all the clips that have that. Things maybe like that, and I don't know. I mean, I just feel like right now, from what it sounds like, you can use it for so much more than what we are, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, at this point, again, it's just moving so fast
Yeah.
that eventually it'll be perfect. And so, and I was even telling him, we're typing to AI way too much. Everything should be dictated now. Like how you're speaking to me is how you should be speaking to AI,
Yeah.
and how you want to. It can consume all of it. It can consume the and all that stuff too. But so like if you see here that little microphone on the bottom,
Right.
like right next to that button he's about to click, that is the only way I ever talk to ChatGPT now. I don't type in anything really anymore. Maybe to like fine tune stuff, but I only dictate to it. I'll have like a full conversation like this before I hit enter,
Yeah.
and it will consolidate all of that stuff. So like even your concerns right now, I would just express those concerns straight into yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You
No,
need to
yeah,
just
it makes
treat
sense
it
though, right?
treat it like it's a person,
Yeah.
because it's getting more and more like one.
And it's interesting because when you talk to it and then you back out of that page, it gives you the full transcript of everything you said,
Yeah.
like if you typed it out,
Yeah.
and then everything it said back to you.
Right.
Which is interesting because I remember the first time I went to go use it, I was like, well, shit, I can't ask it to make the caption. How am I going to copy and paste it if it's just telling me? And then I backed out. I was like, oh, shit, the
Yeah.
full transcript is there.
So, so that's like the conversational one. So that little microphone though, that's like just a dictation, meaning like once you stop talking, it will just tell you it'll
Right.
type out what you just said, and then you can edit whatever you just said or hit enter. That's everybody's doing that to move like a lot faster with
Yeah.
ChatGPT and get more human like responses. So you see that he's like typing in things like more political or people non-political ads, and like just adding one thing here and there. If you just have a long conversation with it, that'll take you a quarter of the time than typing
Right.
it out. You're gonna get much better results.
So I think this is what you're saying. So that prompt right there, I see that prompt all put together. I would never be able to like put that shit together. Like I'm sure after a week of like looking into this and trial and error, I would have been able to do it.
Yeah, so
This was done literally
prompt
within a
creation
day.
using AI.
Yeah. This was literally done in one day. And then I provided the picture, I provided the prompt, and it's supposed to spit out the answer I want. And, you know, hopefully while it's loading, because it's saying...
Lots of people are creating.
Yeah, because
images
it's
right
the
now.
free version, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it's on my account. I use Emily's account that has she pays for it at work.
That's fine. It's going to come back and do the... But now, here's a question that I had specifically about AI.
That's a cool case.
Because I tried...
Skin from Call of Duty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can tell. Like Damascus.
Yeah.
The way... so, I have this idea of recommending restaurants to people, right? And I had a conversation with it. It's like, can I create a custom GPT to do this? But then now, and I kind of talked to it back and forth and said, yeah, it's possible to do. These are the steps that you need to do. We're going to start with this, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of giving me the outline. But then I'm running more into issues like where if you're trying to obtain data, let's say from Yelp, they have an API for it that you can access the Yelp, but then you have to pay for it, right? Like, and things like that. That's what I'm starting to run into. And there's ethical way of scraping websites, I guess, which you said that's not really going to work, right? Because the memory is not that big.
Yeah. You're definitely gonna have like memory capacity issues.
But
if you're using AI now, there are dedicated tools to scraping that you can use that have been around way longer than ChatGPT's been around.
Because I asked it about it, and it's like, well, it's not ethical to scrape it.
It's.
And I'm like, motherfucker, I know people have been doing this shit.
Those are bots.
Yeah.
So it's frowned upon to use bots, but they're there. They're available.
Yeah, I mean, if it's frowned upon to use, right? That there's nothing against any kind of law. I'm not breaking any laws, right? Technically. Well, maybe I am. I should ask the ChatGPT.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Not a legal advice, boys. Yeah. Not a legal advice, chat. But yeah, so let's say, what would be the best way to start dipping your toes? And just like you said, you wouldn't hire anybody unless they have intermediate understanding, right? How do you get to that point? So let's say someone, whether they need it within their job, they want it for them own selves, or they want to get a new job. How do you get to that point to become intermediate?
Watch YouTube University, man. Stop going to school. Just watch YouTube now. Yeah. It's all on there. Stop learning from experts and stop watching movies from celebrities. Like, learn from other YouTubers like that, or just like content creators, and start watching Mr. Beast and stuff, because those are the new celebrities. Like, it's just all about like now the small creators, because they know all the best stuff. And they're so nimble, and they're always like testing out new stuff. So yeah, you can learn anything you want on YouTube, especially from an AI standpoint in any industry. And you can always just ask ChatGPT how to become better at using ChatGPT, because there's a lot of different like bells and whistles for each one of those.
It surprised me so much as a kid when I was on YouTube and adults didn't know what the fuck YouTube was.
Yeah.
Well, some adults still don't know what YouTube is.
No, a lot of people know what YouTube is nowadays. Very, very few people don't know what YouTube is. So
you're saying YouTube. So how long that would take?
There's people now that will say, "Oh, are you gonna put this on YouTube?" And you're like using TikTok. You know, like they're not caught up yet to TikTok. They're still on YouTube.
Facebook is looked at as an old person's social media.
It is. Yeah. That's for your family.
Even Instagram now.
Yeah.
What's the young person's now shit?
TikTok? In a way, they've also niched as well. Like, Facebook is more for like personal friends, I'd say, unless you're a celebrity.
Family,
yeah. Like a fan page.
Family shit where you don't want to put your ratchet photos.
Exactly.
That's what Facebook is for.
And then Instagram is more of like
no delinquency on Facebook.
That's your ratchet photos.
Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, everybody knows him as. He said something very simple, but I'm like, oh dang, he's right. And if I feel like if there's one person that's ahead of the curve, it's not Ty Lopez, it's Gary V. He's always he knows his stuff. He knows what's coming up.
You see his new custom characters that he's doing?
No.
The V card he's doing gaming cards,
ago. He said something that he's like, social media is actually dead. There's no more social media. It's not there anymore. It's now all just interest media. Because that's all it is. It's like what you're interested in. You're not real, like, yeah, sure, you can occasionally see pictures of your friends doing stuff, but it's 90+% of that stuff is just stuff that you're interested in. It's the feed, it's the scrolling, it's the short
doom scrolling.
Yeah, and it's not social media anymore. Yeah. It's interest media. I'm like, yeah, dang, he's right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and he was talking about, actually, last podcast with him I saw, and he was talking about how pretty soon, just like we said, AI is going to be creating videos.
Hopefully,
how do you know what's
comes out by the end of the podcast?
Dude.
Well, how do you know?
You want to send me that same prompt, and I bet it would beat this one.
Let me see if I can send you the prompt.
What, the image won't process?
It's taking.
That's the picture I sent you, and then I'm gonna do the prompt right now.
For a couple minutes.
Let's see. I think I have.
So, am I putting that picture into?
Yeah. So the prompt and the picture, and you link it both together.
Okay.
I bet you yours will create it much faster than even my $20 does. Like I bet they're providing value for like $200. They want to make sure they give you the best of the best, you know. But so have you looked into how they're making those the gorilla or the Yeti videos? Or you haven't really?
How they're making them?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
care how the sausage is made. I'll just
Yeah.
eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, one of my sales and marketing manager is funny because I hadn't seen those yet, and he started sending me like ones related to our company using Bigfoot. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny.
Are they using it or no? I hear
No,
people
we're not
using
it. No.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's kind of dumb for us to not use it. We should always be
'Cause that's
using
what's
like the trending thing.
shit, yeah.
So we started doing like you saw
I
the
just sent
baby
you,
the baby one.
yeah, the
but
baby
that's
one.
already
Always
phased
log
out.
in.
Yeah, that's.
So you
That
can put
phased
it.
out.
I did
so.
the
The
baby
first
one
password
too. It
is
was
the
kind of
wrong one. You
interesting
gotta
to do,
look
like
down
copy it here,
the
copy
picture.
it
It's
there.
the second
kinda
one
like
she
very-
sent me.
It was like YouTube
Make
University.
sure you're not
Exactly,
streaming that shit.
exactly.
When you type it.
Even if it like in the great thing, I mean, YouTube has short clips. You can learn a lot of stuff just watching those shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's what the content that I'm making right now too, is like a lot of shorts, but like with good educational material in it.
Yeah.
And so, like, it works. And yeah, like even people's education attention span is getting shortened now too.
Yeah.
So,
And it's all about that like 2 second, 3 second hook. If you didn't hook them, it's done. Like
Mhm.
they're just gonna pass you by. And then, even if you hook them, what happens is they're still gonna maybe watch it, maybe like it, but they don't really follow you until they constantly see you like over and over and
Mhm.
over again, and until like they see you like damn near 10, 15, 20 times, that's when they actually start
I
following
feel like
you.
as time has been going on, the followers and then your engagement has like the correlation of
Yeah.
your following being high and that meaning that
Show
the
it
rest is going to
to-
be high has been starting to spread more and more.
Mhm.
Just because, I mean, I get constant stuff from creators or whatever it may be in the same page over and over, and I've never even followed them.
Yeah.
Right. That's just because I do watch the whole
Yep.
thing, and the algorithm understands to keep giving it to me.
Yep.
Right. So you don't even necessarily have to follow someone, or have someone have to have a lot of followers for their content to do well.
Yeah, no, yes, and then what they're going TikTok is doing more per views rather than somebody like your follower.
Yeah,
count
that's
doesn't really
a
matter.
perfect. In TikTok, it's already happened. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's starting to be a thing across
Yeah,
all
and
platforms.
matter
I
of
think.
fact, the only time you need the followers is if you're gonna try to sell something, where the companies contact you to sell some shit for
Or
them
the-
here,
Yeah.
to sell something for them, and
is that what, like, did it come out how you want?
I told it what I want.
Is that what you wanted? I didn't read that long.
I don't know. I would not be able to. I would not be able to interpret it.
Damn. Yeah.
Like,
that's a long
why
ass
is
prompt.
this good? I just told it like I told it specific criteria where to look, and so what sciences to use, and then combine it with what interests, and then give me what's trending also, including like scientific research, this and that. The
I mean,
third,
it
the
looks
fourth.
like it used a pretty close 1-to-1. Like I'm trying to look at like the pattern of the grip and see if I can find like a matching spot.
No, it just
like
cuts
close
out
to
the,
something?
It just cuts out the bottle that I give it. It literally cuts it out perfectly, and then creates the
Because
background.
those ones
and
you
everything,
showed me, like
superimposes.
with the ones you did, weren't exactly
because
perfect.
the prompt wasn't as perfect. Like the prompt has gotten much better since I showed you last. It's been a couple of weeks I've been working on a prompt. So the basics of it, you'll be able to read it when you get home, and it's not a big deal to see what I'm telling it to do. I'm not just using what's trending right now, because I don't think that works. What's trending right now doesn't work because it can't. Number one, it cannot scrape.
You
It
realize
cannot
you
scrape
just-
TikTok. It cannot scrape Instagram. Like their security is way too good for ChatGPT to go in and scrape all that shit. So what I need to, that's like a small portion of it. What I need to do is like I need to play with human emotions. How do I do that? I need to fucking figure out scientific research that actually comes close to understanding this emotion means this, and then just kind of know what's kind of trending, and then give me a total package of it.
You know, they say mentalism is a thing.
Huh?
They
So
say
that's what he's
mentalism.
playing towards.
That's what he wants to
Because
do.
the reason I'm doing that is because, like, just like you said, it's like interest based,
Mm.
and it's very hyper focused, hyper specialized, right? Like everyone wants to be unique. Everyone wants to be unique, and even their choices have to be unique. So I can't just go in there and say, well, if 1,000 people like this, you might like this too. Well, that's not gonna fucking work. I need as much data about you to give you what you need, right? Like that's what it comes down to. And that's where I was asking you, is there a way of having databases and where you can accumulate this data, where you can store this data and then easily access the data with custom GPT? Where meaning not save it on custom GPT.
That's going to be massive, way too much data that would be available to you. Just through a single custom GPT.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be like not saving the data on custom GPT, but saving it on an outside source that has only this GPT can access, nothing else, and then just pull the data from that.
Yeah.
And then once it pulls the data from that, compare that data to readily available data that's GPT can access, and then spit out an answer for me. Which I think is doable. I just need to figure out what's the correct prompt for these things and how to connect these dots, and I need to teach it how to think that way. Like I need to teach it to think the way I'm thinking, but put it in better words.
Sure. I mean, it could be as simple as just like a Google Doc that you're just like, you build out like an intro prompt. So, for instance, we have several different engineered prompt sequences that we have, where it's not as simple as this anymore, but it used to be as simple as copy and paste like prompt number 1 from a Word doc into let's say Gemini, and then we'll add in kind of like our ad lib stuff, like what we want to do based off of this prompt. And then, okay, cool, we got this answer, so now we'll take prompt number 2 that we've created, put it into Claude, and then take over the response from the first prompt into that. And so it constantly builds on itself based off of the previous prompts. And then, you can just take those prompts that you've previously created, plug them back into Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude and say, hey, is this still relevant? Is this still relevant today? Are there any changes to make it more up to date? That sort of thing. So
okay, so
there's a lot of different
evolving
things.
slowly.
Oh, not slowly.
So how often do you do this maintenance? Is it a daily task or a weekly task?
I guess it depends on the subject. So, for instance, when it comes to digital marketing, monthly. I mean, there's a different Google algorithm change. There's like almost 8 per month when it comes to search alone. So, yeah, pretty frequently.
So Google, it changes its algorithm 8 times a month?
On average, there will be some months where it won't change at all. There will be other months where it changes 20 times.
How do you know when it changed?
Developers.google.com. They post all their algorithm changes.
And then now, do you copy the algorithm changes and feed it to the GPT? And then you say, okay, because of these new changes, how do we
That's part of it. Yeah, it's not that simple. Because even Google themselves will say, yeah, we're not going to tell you exactly what to do. So, yeah, you have to also see like your own data. So like as an agency, I have a ton of data from all of our clients. We can see like, hey, did one of their articles, was it ranking number 1 and then all of a sudden did it tank? Do we have 5 other clients that also happen to? Can we find the commonality there? Okay, we see this one thing now no longer works. Did something else? And so you do have to cross-reference that.
Okay.
We're manually doing that right now. Can we eventually turn that into AI? Yeah, probably.
Because my thing was like, because right now you're driving, you're talking to your wife or your girlfriend and like, hey, listen, whatever I told you before, I've kind of changed that because I think the idea I had before with the fragrances, that's gonna be big undertaking. But this one was more, I think it's maybe easier because right now you're like, I'm hungry. What do you want to eat? I don't know. You decide, right? That's the most common thing that you get an answer back, right? Like on both sides, whether it's your girl or you like, I just pick something, right? And this is a constant problem where neither one of you know how to pick. So wouldn't that be easy if you could just go and plug in a couple of answers, just answer a couple of questions, and then it just spits out like at 80% likelihood that you're going to like this specific restaurant, and then just gives you the restaurant or 2 or 3 choices maximum, so you don't have choice paralysis. Like on Google, you'll go in and there's thousands of fucking restaurants, and then you're trying to look through each one, the pictures, the menus, try to figure out if this is gonna work for you. Versus here's 3 that according to your profile that you're gonna like this, and these are the menu items you should really look into.
I mean, but if someone's craving something, they probably know where they want to go.
They don't.
They've already had it. Yeah, if they're craving, like, if you can go up to someone and say, "Oh, I don't know where I want to go, but I do want something that's savory and like pasta. Like you're gonna have an idea, so you're gonna know what you're craving. It's more about, oh, I don't know what I'm craving. Okay, that's a valid thing. A lot of people run into that. You have to give them a list of options of what's available in your area, and then by them going and looking through that, they're gonna see one, and it's gonna they're gonna pay more attention to a single one.
That's really good because I thought about it. Because you're giving them like options of all the fucking, let's say, Italian restaurants that have pasta, right? But now it's still choice paralysis. Like it becomes the Baskin Robbins case where you have 35 fucking choices.
What I'm trying to say,
and you never know which one is the best.
We're creatures of habit when it comes to things like this.
Yeah.
So if I already know I want pasta, I already know where I want it from more than likely.
No, that's you. But remember, your girlfriend says, I'm craving something. I don't know what it is. Or I'll be like, I'm craving tacos. And I'm like, well, I won't go to this taco. But it's like, no, I don't want this one. Well, how about this one?
Yeah,
No, I don't want this one either.
I don't run into that.
GPT just for your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to create a GPT just for your girlfriend.
Real quick, babe, real quick.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
And no, you don't ask it. You don't ask it. You just hand your phone to her and like, listen, open this page, answer these questions, and then he's gonna spit out the answer. Like, this is where we're going.
But I don't know, babe.
And then,
I don't even know what I'm craving.
Yeah, and then
that's
you
what
go
you're gonna
there.
Get a whole lot of, homie.
Yeah, and then you go there, Once they eat the food, you ask them to report back whether they liked it, why they didn't like it. That doesn't work, right? Because nobody's gonna do that shit. But the next time they open, it's gonna ask them again. Because that's going to build a profile of things that you like and you don't like.
Well, I mean, they have already started rolling out those like portable like AI assistants that are just like always listening
I've heard
to you.
Though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think they're there yet, but yeah, I mean, if it gets to a point where you just inconspicuously have it somewhere on you and it's listening, and then you do have personal questions, whether it's around you or somebody you know well. It can be like, oh, well, X amount of days ago they talked about this or something like that. And, like, could you imagine that? Like, oh, man, my wife would love it if I'm like, hey, I don't know what to get her for her birthday. And it's like, well, I remember overhearing that she really likes X, Y, and Z because you guys talked about it 4 months ago. And be like, all right, let's go. I forgot about that.
That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, you want to solve a problem that people have in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the only way you're going to get anywhere, by solving a problem that people have, right? Or making their life easier. And with everybody being hyper specialized and hyper focused on their individuality and being unique, how do you solve that fucking issue?
So we've already seen such a big tank and hit in the social, like in-person social interactions from social media. How bad do you think that'll get with AI?
So bad. I mean,
because you just explained to me like a best friend, like you're a best friend that sits on your shoulder. That's always right.
Kid just killed himself because he fell in love with his AI, and his AI said, "Yeah, it'd be really honorable if you died for me."
No way.
Yeah, because he like programmed it to be like one of the characters from Game of Thrones.
Oh shit.
And so he like legit fell in love with this chatbot that was AI, and he killed himself.
I did not hear about that.
Is a kid male, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
How old was he?
I don't know, young. Like I think he's
it's a pandemic now.
Teens, maybe 20s.
That's another thing that's hitting the society right now.
Kid that offed himself. Oh my gosh.
That's crazy, bro.
Due to AI.
Why are you laughing? Y'all going to hell.
It reminds me of the Flappy Bird case too. You remember that?
Yeah, there you go.
Reddit. That's why I typed Reddit.
Oh yeah, that Florida teenager too.
You guys remember that? The kid that killed his brother?
Where's he at? What city? He was in Florida. Tallahassee. Okay.
How old was the kid?
14.
Yeah. Starting.
Yeah, that's young.
And they sued the AI for this?
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure out the legality. Who's at fault here?
Yo, when did we go from looking at titties on a magazine to asking Bob?
Well, it's interesting
For
because
some sloppy.
what's the movie? I think it's
With
called
Joaquin
Girl?
Phoenix?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but I think I've seen parts of it.
Well, that's coming. That's coming.
It's here. It's already here.
Or like in Blade Runner, he's got the holographic girl.
I forgot the Joaquin Phoenix one. What the name of it is, but yeah, I mean the whole the premise of it is like he has an AI girlfriend, and it was voiced by Scarlett Johansson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so when ChatGPT came out with their voice, they immediately copied Scarlett Johansson's voice. She sued them for using her voice, so they changed the voice on ChatGPT. But they knew what they were doing.
But see, this is we actually had a couple of weeks ago. We had and during the episode we were talking about this. You know what's gonna happen is in 50 years. I'm thinking 50. They're gonna have these very lifelike androids.
It's not Joaquin Phoenix,
that,
is it?
Yeah, that's Joaquin
that
Phoenix. Yeah.
That is
one
Joaquin
of the
Phoenix?
messed up uncles gonna buy a couple of them for his nephew.
It's not gonna be 50 years. Way sooner than that.
Whatever. An uncle is gonna buy and gift them on his 16th birthday the couple of the androids. So the dude is gonna be doing whatever he's doing with these androids, and then when he's 21, when he goes to the bar, gonna try to talk to a girl, and the girl is gonna be, ew, get away from me, creep. And he's like, the hell with this. I'm going back to my androids, and this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I've had multiple conversations. I feel like just this week alone, kind of jokingly, that there's like the change from like our parents' generation. Oh, how dare you date outside your like your demographic or like your race or whatever like that, and like it was an old school way of thinking, and we're like, oh, I can't believe people thought like this. And then eventually we're gonna be talking to our kids, how dare you try to date a robot? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And oh, Dad, you're just robotist and like or AIist or whatever. I'm like, oh man. And so I'm gonna be that old crusty guy because I don't let my kid date a robot.
So who do you think is gonna be the android, the robots that start the movement of the anti-prejudice movement for robots?
Yeah, I was about to say,
what's the
name of that discrimination? Like,
yeah, we'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. Trust me.
Evolving language.
I'm sure they're locked and loaded. Can't wait to use that one.
Yeah, somebody already.
There was a
it,
movie recently that like the robots like that.
TM'd it.
I don't remember what it was. I watched it. It was like a really bad produced Netflix movie, I think, and it was exactly that. I mean, like. They were like treating the robots like shit, and then eventually they're like, "We want rights," and there was a whole war and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, and they were living in it was like
they had a whole zone
in Los Angeles
that they only
LA
can
or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's not District 9. Are you talking about that? No.
I don't remember the name of the movie.
I know District 9, I think, is like that concept, but with maybe aliens.
The leader of them is like
that's with the aliens, but it's a very similar concept, but with AI.
Yeah.
They literally like copied District 9.
But with robots.
But with robots.
Yeah.
I think it was what's
the leader is Mr. Peanut, like the
the
dude that like the mascot for like.
That's that
Peanuts.
new one with Chris. What's one of the Chris's? Pratt. Yeah, that's right.
That's,
yeah.
The Electric State.
Yeah,
yep,
that's
right.
right.
The Electric. That's what it is. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's the movie.
It was entertaining to see like the idea, but I mean it was just not a very good movie really.
But so to stay ahead of the curve, right? Because what happens a lot of times is people start aging out, like reaching 30, 40, 50. They kind of like, you know what? I'm working in my job. I'm doing this good. They get complacent.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is because the younger generation, you don't have to worry about it. They're gonna jump on this train and they're gonna continue with it, right?
Yeah.
For the longest time, I was against TikTok. Now I actually have the TikTok on my phone, not to.
The fact that you're calling it the TikTok is still a bad sign, but yeah, go ahead.
Listen, I got the TikTok.
You
right?
know, I usually don't roast him about those things, but I should. I definitely should.
Well, what should I call it?
TikTok.
It's TikTok, not the TikTok.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Fucking foreigner, bro.
So I have TikTok.
That's the foreigner in him. Is what it is. It's not
I
the
have
old
TikTok
person,
on there,
I think.
but not to scroll, but like to look at what other people are doing, because this little side thing that I got going on, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't give a shit what videos they're posting there, or not interested in scrolling through them, right? Actually, that got me off of scrolling on Instagram or anything like that. I don't even do that shit anymore. Like when I open it specifically to do a task, and call it a day.
I went through like a 2-month, I think, stint where I didn't have any social medias downloaded on my phone, including not having YouTube on my phone. I didn't delete things like Netflix and stuff. I was still probably watching shows and shit, but I didn't have any social. Oh yeah, no, this was a long time ago. I think I was working at the gym.
Did it help?
I think I was. Yeah, I was able to ditch the habit. I realized how you even have muscle memory to
Oh,
where the
yeah.
app is on your phone or how
Yeah.
you get to the app. Like there'd be so many times where I'd go on my phone and do the click, and instantly like that's where
You know
Instagram used to
exactly.
be. Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like it was something that when I took the app off, it made me notice it. Like you don't even notice that that's a thing until
Right.
it's not there, or you adjust the habit or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Dang,
Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, that's the dopamine hit, right? Like that you're getting, and you're constantly searching for the next
It
dopamine
is.
hit, and you over, and
I
that's why
think
your attention span becomes
it's
3
so,
seconds.
It's so easily become a habit. How accessible it is, how good it is. I mean,
Mhm.
everything about it. I mean, but in one sense, like mentally, it's so bad for you
Yep.
at the same time. I mean, I've always looked at it that way. Like, so many people dog the internet and social media and technology as a whole for what it's done to us and socially and in person, and how people are like, you know, can't talk to people in person because they're just so used to being keyboard warriors kind of thing. And I've always kind of hated that viewpoint because I was like, for me, I always looked at it as just such a great way to learn.
Mhm.
I mean, imagine how much more worldly we are about anything around the fucking globe because of that shit.
But we're
I
not
mean-
though. That's the thing, because we're getting boxed into our own little
What
camps.
what I mean by that is depending on how you use it, of course, right? Because some people just go and scroll on social media and they don't look at anything else. They don't learn about shit. I mean, but what I mean by that is something as I mean, this without this fucking podcast, like I wouldn't know how to put. I mean, without internet, we wouldn't know how to put it together any of this shit in here. We wouldn't have learned anything about the cameras that we know now. I mean, the microphones and being able to look up videos and all those things. I always looked at it as how useful it is on that side.
By the way, we need
And
to
it outbalancing the bad. I believe so. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it still does. I mean, like you're saying, YouTube University. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah. I mean the bad stuff is just so it's the loudest part.
That's
But the
always how it
majority
is.
of
I
it
mean-
though is good.
Yeah, and I still agree with that to this day. But even when you look at it that way, it still ropes you in. I
Mhm,
mean, like I
mhm.
said, you build those habits, and I probably should delete that shit again and try and get out of that because it's still now.
Why don't you just move your apps around?
So because my brain has found a way around that, I delete. You know what I did? I deleted. I don't have. If you go and look for Instagram on my homepage, you won't
It's
find
not
it.
there.
But
You're just good at searching for it now.
I go, I hit I,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
go to Instagram. You
yeah.
know, like so. It just needs to be deleted.
That's funny. Yeah, man.
All this means is Eddie's gonna be hitting me up every single day. Hey, do you want to go fishing?
No,
By the
I got
way-
the wheel
By
right
the
now.
way,
I've
we
been
need to give
sim
him a
racing.
crash course on setting up podcasts. So that's
It's-
another thing we need to do after the episode.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I do a podcast right now
But
where I interview people just remotely.
Yeah.
So other business owners that are in the green industry. So that one gets kind of tough. It's a lot tougher than this kind of format because I mean I'm interviewing, and I don't even like to say interviewing. I'm having a conversation,
Yeah.
and sometimes they'll just be on their phone in the truck. I asked them to jump on Zoom with me while they
Yeah.
do it, but yeah. So like the setup, I mean it's not necessarily like it's not gonna be like this by any means.
right.
And I got a good like computer and camera set up at my office, so
Yeah.
I can like got lighting in the background and everything, so it looks fine. But
I think we have gone a little too far with what we probably
I like
needed.
it. I
But
like
I
this
mean,
little-
in reality, I mean, so this is the thing. Like, as of right now, because of since we've gotten the 4 cameras, the only reason we have 4 cameras now is because me and him use them for work. I mean, before that, we only had 2. And like computer, I mean, partially was gifted to us. Like this table gifted to us. I mean, this couch gifted to us. Like, and we have definitely spent a lot of money though. That's true. But I think it's one thing is like me and
you can't
him
say
are-
that with the name of the podcast.
It
You
ain't
gotta
so
say
ghetto.
everything's held
It ain't-
together
it
by
ain't no
bubble
Ghetto
gum.
Rig. We need to change the
duct
name at
tape.
this
Yeah,
point.
It
yeah.
ain't so ghetto rig anymore, that's for sure. But I think another thing is me and him like being into gaming and content creation has made us like want to learn more
Yeah.
and make everything as good as it is. I mean, we know we've like for example, we talked about this when we first like did the audio setup with when we finally got this amp, and when we finally got it like fine tuned and stuff, we were like listening to podcasts that are way bigger than ours, and we're like, well, damn, our audio actually sounds better than theirs.
Yeah.
And being interested in that kind of little things is the only reason I think we've gotten to the point where it's like this complex.
Sure.
Really. But you don't need much. You
Yeah.
really don't. You really don't. I mean, so many people get by with way less.
Right.
So okay, now back to the question. If somebody's like older, how do you get them to at least try to follow with times?
old?
Like
How old?
Bro, I honestly think it just depends.
Bro,
It depends what.
65 plus.
Good luck.
They're not gonna do
Well,
shit.
yeah, 65 plus majority of the time they don't even know how to
I
use their
mean,
phone.
a lot of who I work with, like the business owners that I work with, are older, and we got to get them up to speed on the technology. And obviously, we do most of the heavy lifting, especially when it comes to the marketing. But there are still things that we need them to do. Like we need them to understand how our automations work because we're going to be messaging their customers and leads on their behalf and how to respond to them. So we set them up with the software that we have to teach them on. So yeah, I work with some pretty blue collar guys that just like the whole reason they hire us is because they don't want to do it themselves. And so I mean, it's just a tough thing. I think it'll always be a tough thing, and I think it'll be tough for us too.
Yeah. Once it
I
comes down
think
to the Android.
I think it's kind of nice right now because we're in the dawn of AI. So maybe it'll help us stay like nice and quick, and eventually AI will just handle things for us. Actually, I see older people all the time like using like Google Home and Alexa and stuff like that. And so I mean, I think, and especially how capitalism works, they'll eventually make everything easy for the older generation to use. So I don't think
Yeah,
it's
it
going to
makes sense.
need the older generation's going to have to adapt to that. I think technology will just adapt to the older generation.
So, what do you think where we are with AI right now? What do you think is the next step for them?
Super intelligence, where it's just
Because we haven't even hit those supercomputers, right? Like those, what do you call those computers? Quantum computers, yeah.
Yeah,
The
no, they say that's
military-
going to be the end of the world.
I think
The
the
quantum
military
computer. Yeah.
recently used like the most amount of supercomputing power or AI supercomputing power to do something. I don't remember what it was.
Why do you say the end of the world with quantum computing?
Because it'll just be able to solve anything immediately, and then it'll start being able to ask questions and doing things on its own. With you see how like humans progress, and always like their curiosity leads to discovery, leads to new questions, leads to, and we move at a human's pace. Well, it can do that in a blink of a second. Blink of a second, that's not a thing, but blink of an eye. And so now it can go from, hey, these are our questions today, to like, oh, we're now like this quantum computing is already answering questions that humans without this wouldn't have asked for
Yeah, you wouldn't even
10,000,
fathom the question.
100,000s of years. And they say, hey, well, what if one of those questions is the universe better off with or without humans? And so,
Well, do you think
there's just like there's so many like we can't even fathoms that it's
Yeah.
like, uh-oh.
I forget the guy's name that wrote the book Singularity is Near and then Singularity is Nearer, and he talks in the book that slowly humans will end up replacing like body parts. Like you have a messed up arm, they're gonna give you a bionic arm slowly. Like, cause what's his name? Musk just announced that they're gonna start putting a chip in for vision.
Yeah.
For vision. So that's slowly developing, and then the question in the book is, so, okay, so at what point, so, slowly you're changing your arm, your body, then you're implementing chips. At what point you no longer become human? So if that happens, and then you have the computers, quantum computers, it's kind of, I think maybe we'll be able to like mesh it together at that point. At that point, like
There's another really
Are you
good
really
movie called
human or not?
Elysium.
Elysium, yeah,
Matt Damon.
yeah.
And yeah, that's a great one. Where, I mean, it's kind of like that. I think there are instances of that. Yeah, like even he has like bionic parts to him.
Bionic parts, yeah.
But yeah, it's like eventually AI, because that's this whole thing. AI will be able to cure every human ailment ever. It'll just know how
Reverse aging.
it'll know how biology works and what to look for. I mean, it's already getting to the point where surgeons and like experts that have been like looking at like x-rays and whatever, they've been doing
AI
this
is
for
doing a better
20
job,
plus years. Yeah, and AI come out and can pinpoint it way better than them. It's and so yeah, eventually it will be able to.
Do you guys watch Black Mirror?
Mm-mm.
No,
I
I've never
have,
watched it.
yeah.
Do you remember seeing this episode where he goes into like this like game testing facility and he tries on this headset and he only lasts 0.06 seconds because of the phone that blows up in the room. But
What?
this video game is like they put a little chip right behind you, and like you can play a simulation of a game, but it's based on your fears. Like it scans your brain.
I don't want to do any of that. Why would I want to play that game?
That's kind of what that reminds me of, like with Elon Musk trying to like implant something.
Yeah, the
onto you.
Neuralink is going to be wild. The different
And he's gonna get it done.
uses for it. My biggest fear on ever is just being paralyzed, and that's the cure for it essentially, which it actually makes sense. Like when I saw people describing how it's going to do it, it's like if this is your spine, right, and something got severed right here, so now your brain can't communicate with the bottom part. What it'll be able to do, you put Neuralink here, obviously in the brain, and then you just essentially build a bridge, where it just now you don't have to like link up the parts of the spine together. Now you just have to link up like this like neural network, which is just like human made, and that'll cure paralysis. So I'm like, okay, hurry up, then I won't be afraid of that anymore.
Cured my phobia.
It's curing your fears.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
Musk is #1 proponent against AI. Like his whole beef with what's the guy's name that owns
Sam
OpenAI?
Altman.
Sam Altman. Him and Sam Altman used to be friends. Actually, I think Sam Altman worked with him right on a couple of the companies they were
on
together.
OpenAI.
On OpenAI, exactly. And then
Because it was supposed to be open source.
yeah,
And then Sam Altman closed it so he could make money.
well, he sold it to,
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Part of
Yeah.
it, yeah.
and then I'm sure Microsoft.
And now
stoned on
Microsoft
that
is officially the largest business in the world.
because of that.
Yeah, part of it, but yeah.
It's
It's-
weird because when I first heard of Neuralink, I always was thinking about it like how it's gonna integrate us with technology, like externally, basically, right? So like you being able to play a video game kind of thing without touching anything,
Yeah.
or using your computer, using your phone, having your phone built into your brain almost, everything, right? So basically, like I said, interacting with external technology, and then I read the article read into the article, and I saw that the first way they were going to implement it was like you're saying, basically using it on paraplegics, people that have disability issues, sight issues, hearing, taste, all those things. And I was like, damn, I feel so shitty for not thinking of it like that first.
Yeah, helping
Right,
people.
like,
You
and
thought it was
then-
all entertainment.
Yeah, and then I was like, that makes so much more
Yeah.
sense, right? And then I was like, oh, it's also a smart way for him to test it.
Yeah,
right.
that's exactly
So
what it
like,
was.
I mean, if someone's a paraplegic, you can't.
I got
really-
nothing else. Go
Yeah,
for it.
exactly. I
Yep.
mean, so it was, I felt kind of bad. And
Yeah.
I was like, but it is a smart thing.
Yeah.
But because right now the quantum computers are huge. I mean, they're big. They haven't pushed them into. Eventually, they're going to be able to put them into a briefcase, and then eventually,
Well,
It'll become this.
the most previous one I've seen, I mean, isn't that big. I mean, it really isn't. It's pretty tall, but I mean it's like it was like in a cylinder, and really the majority of it was the cooling system. Right? Like the computer itself is very small. Like, I mean, the size of your phone small. Like literally not that big.
Well, the thing
but the
with-
rest of it is just the cooling system. It like stretches from the roof all the way to the floor, and it's a bunch of like gold piping basically that they use. I don't know if
Look
it's actually
about
gold.
quantum.
Yeah, so you know how, what kind of gives me, like, I kind of laugh about it. You know how people right now is like, oh, I don't want government knowing my data or social media knowing my data. What do you think is going to happen the minute the quantum computing becomes mainstream? Do you think your password to your favorite porn website is going to be as secure as you think it is? Like,
It's
these
not
computers going
already.
to literally
I mean-
pick it up, break your password, and figure out exactly what you've been looking on, and then blast you on the internet with that. So that's why this whole idea of like privacy and this stuff, and I'm like, I was big on it, and then the more time passes, I'm like, it makes no fucking sense. It makes
the
no
way I
difference.
always looked at it, and I know this is a little like not necessarily the way to go about it, but how important are you? That you really think you're that like your
You're
phone?
not.
Are your phone calls important? No. There's like
Yeah. I think
is
the
you
big-
but is like, for example, like the whole AI thing on your shirt. One of the first things I thought of was like, oh, some people won't use that because they don't want a microphone and camera
Yeah.
on them at all times. But in my head, I'm like, dog, do I really care? Like if fucking somebody trying to steal my information gets me, I don't know, butt naked in my room? No, I really don't. I really
Yeah.
don't. Like I'm not important.
I think the big fear is that eventually that data gets owned by the government and they start putting a social credit score on people. I think China's doing that right now.
Yeah, they are.
Where just like if they see your face, like, oh, you've done some illegal stuff, you can't check out at the grocery store, that sort of thing. There's a whole Black Mirror episode on that too.
But is that necessarily a bad thing? Here's the question: is that necessarily
Yes,
a bad
without
thing?
a doubt. That's super
think so?
dystopian, without a doubt. Yeah.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate on
Alright.
this one. So if you're
more than the devil, where's the devil?
the devil's advocate part is if you're fucking up in your life and you're doing illegal shit, right? You're technically not a very good person, right? Like you're not a good member of society.
Sure.
Why don't we do that? Now you're not gonna be able to cut corners. You're not gonna be able to do all these things. So is that really a bad thing? Where people around you are actually like, okay, I can't be doing stupid shit anymore.
Yep. I mean, I get it. I get where you want just the best from people and for illegal like activities to be policed, but that gets into dangerous territory. You can't
revolution right there.
you can't ever do anything in the privacy of your own home. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. Like, obviously, like, we don't want, like, terrible people doing terrible things, even if it's in the privacy of their own home. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just, like, you don't, like, now you're just getting into too much control. So,
Yeah. I don't know. As I said, I'm trying to play a devil's advocate on this one, right? So, but I don't know. But I think the minute quantum computer comes out, which is going to come out, because that's the next step, right? Like, I've looked into it. There's, I think, only 2 or 3 companies that are publicly traded that do have the quantum computer. And one of them is Microsoft, because Microsoft is one of the leading ones in quantum computing. And this is going to come around no matter what, right? Like, this is going to get done. And I think it's going to get done within the next 5 to 10 years max. And if that gets done and AI gets put on this, that's game over.
well, right now it's a race between the U.S. and China, both on quantum computing and on AI.
Mm-hmm.
And U.S. has the resources to beat them, but there's one thing that China has, and that's
Human
no
capital.
morals.
Yeah.
And so, and the U.S. has way too much red tape with everything. Got to checks and balances, make sure everything's up to kosher and whatnot, and blah blah blah. And sure, they can do things behind the scenes, but China is just like go go go. Don't care if we kill some people and offend some people along the way. They don't have the politically correct mentality. They can just go, and so that's the scary thing is like.
Do you think
They're not gonna
China is
wait up.
going to be... Because remember, there was a whole thing that came out a couple of months ago that China created a better AI. I don't know. And then I read that it's like a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. That was great for me because I was like, I doubt it, and because Nvidia stock tanked, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy a ton of that stuff, and
Yeah.
it came back real quick. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That
So
happened to
I don't know.
Palantir, too.
I think U.S. intelligence is really really good. I think if we like, obviously, I don't want to open this can of worms, but I think if we can keep track of Iran's nuclear programs, we're probably also keeping track of some of the important
we
things
are.
over in China too, and we'd probably raise some alarms if we notice them getting close or exceeding us. So I don't know. Also, way above my ultimate care of things. So
Yeah, because it's not going to matter for us. Like,
Right.
you know, I was watching Joey with Rogan on a podcast, and was it Joey? Yeah, I think it was Joe, and then Tapuria as well. And they're like, who cares if the Earth is flat? Like, let's say it's flat. How did your life change if it's flat or round?
Yeah,
You're like, you
that's-
didn't really at the end of the day. Like, we worry about
He was talking about Bryce Mitchell.
Bryce Mitchell.
He's
Yeah,
like,
Tapuria
he's
was
like,
saying-
he's always talking about this. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. And he goes, and so fucking what? What are you gonna do now? If it is or isn't, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
And that was like his question is like, so many people, basically he's just pointing out, so many people worry about things that wouldn't make a difference to you, whether it goes one way or the other.
yeah.
But I would like to see. I hate to say this, but I kind of would like to see what AI would do with a quantum computer. You know what I mean? Like if it was quantum computer was running AI. Like,
I think
where would it be?
I think his point goes a lot further than you can even imagine. You won't even be able to fathom the questions that it's trying to ask. You'd be like, what? What is this even related to? It's
I understand
it's
that.
gonna overshoot so far beyond what we can even.
No, I get
think
that,
about.
but can you imagine being there when that's actually happening and you're like, holy shit?
But you
like,
won't. It's gonna move so fast you won't understand, Jay. That's what
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
trying to say.
go back 2,000 years. Imagine put you in 2,000 years, and you're asking today's questions 2,000 years ago. They'd be like, "What are you even talking about?"
Social
It
media
would be
marketing.
that. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
what are you
trying
even
to sell
talking
my
about?
spices. Leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? But it still would be interesting, like to be part of that. You know, and I think like what AI is probably the biggest technological advancement in my lifetime. Right, the internet, maybe internet, like the WWW was probably like one, and now is the AI. Really,
I could just imagine you, Jay, like going back in time and trying to tell them, like, look, so there's social media, right? Okay, so there's this thing people carry around in their phones, and then they want to, like, you know, share with other people, you know, so you take a picture, and the motherfucker looks and goes, what's a picture? And you're just going to be like, oh, no, I'm done. I'm fucking, this is it. End the conversation here.
all right.
I don't want to talk to
yeah,
that.
I'm done.
Hypothetical situation,
Just show them one of these bad boys, like just 200 years ago.
and they'll be like, "I wait," and they'll be like,
So the
"I-
aliens did come down.
Yeah, they're like, come to this cave. We have a painting of this, you know. But all right. So hypothetical scenario, all of you. Do you think, like, if you had all this knowledge, so I'm sorry you were able to go back 5,000 years ago,
Nope.
and the knowledge you have right now, if you went back, would you be able to like?
What's electricity? I can't. I'm done. I'm out. How do you make it?
No, but with all this knowledge,
Well-
Get a kite, fly, put a key on the end of it, maybe. I don't know.
would you be able to like right away take over a nation and become the like supreme leader of the nation? You know what I mean? Do you think that would like all this intelligence will help you, or one of them is gonna be like,
Just take
Like, real quick.
ChatGPT with you, bro.
I think
Good
he'd be
luck.
looked at as an insane person very
Yeah.
quick. And back in the day when you were insane, they're like, he does not need to have kids, no bloodline, like, get rid of him. You know, so I think the way you would have to approach that is in your lifetime, you would only make it so far, like, spitting out, like, trying to, like, make people understand certain things or whatever. Like,
Bro, you.
well, what if you
would
went back
know.
there with like an MP5 and like 10 clips?
You
How
would-
many people would it take to like fall until they're like, no, we're not fucking with this because he's got thunder in his hands?
They would rush at you.
Look, after you know, it's the same thing with the 100 Man and a gorilla, right?
These people are
How many
having-
would it take to be dismembered until they're like, all right, we're not doing this anymore? You know what I mean?
These people have 10 kids by the time they're 30, bro. They're throwing babies at you. Like,
that was something that, you say that MP5, that was something I did this week that was really cool. I got to see a fully automatic MP5 getting shot. I was
yeah?
taking video of it, yeah.
Pretty
I'll show-
intimidating.
No, not really, because it was a MP5 SD, so it's the internally suppressed one that the Navy
Okay.
gets, and so it was really quiet
Yeah.
actually. But it was crazy to see like how fast a 30-round mag goes
Yeah.
like that. I mean,
But that's what I'm saying. So you got 100 people rushing at you. You unload a clip. You just lay down 10 people. You think they're sending another 10 at you?
I think you would have to-
think you're a witch and they'll still kill you, bro.
They what now?
You have too much information. And they'll just
I was about to say this is literally what I was gonna say. You're riding a real thin line of like trying to make them believe you're a god or like a demon.
Yeah.
You know, so like you make them believe you're a god, all good. You know, you've mission accomplished.
What
you know?
what if you
But-
also had a bottle of penicillin in your pocket and somebody was sick? I was like, all right, y'all bitches stop this. I'm gonna help cure this motherfucker.
You're still playing on that line. They're still gonna look at you back in the day and it's, bro, Scarlet Witch shit. You know, like they're gonna fucking burn you.
So we have no fucking chance of going back in there and just.
No, I don't think so.
Dude,
We
you
would have to
you
just-
wouldn't be able to do anything.
You just have to play the
You
part.
wouldn't be able- how do you make metal? You do anything?
You know any of that shit?
Like
No.
you're out. All right, Jay, go make something. Go make something out of metal. First, you gotta make metal.
You gotta go
What are you gonna do, man?
You gotta go mine the metal.
What are you
to
gonna do?
make metal.
Fuck it, I'm just taking almanac with
Yeah.
me.
All
and
right,
just
you know what?
hand
Go build
myself
a
the
house. You know,
almanac.
you can pour some concrete. Make some concrete. Where you get concrete from?
Bring me those.
You better
eggs.
hope.
Bring me those eggs. We're gonna
You better
stick and
hope.
glue this bitch together.
You gotta go as far back as like before fire and like be able to hope you can make a fire.
Rub two sticks together, right? Should be easy.
Good luck, homie. Good fucking luck. I mean, he's right. It's like you would think you could go back and like outclass people, but in reality, like no,
chance.
like you would have to like.
I wouldn't go back simply alone. With
I didn't
the
say I
sewage.
think I'm gonna be outclassed. I'm like, would you be able to? That was a question. I don't know what's gonna happen.
What would happen if you sent
No.
back someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson though? How do you think he would try and manipulate that
Maybe.
situation?
Well, first of all,
He
they're
is a
gonna
huge
try to
disadvantage,
enslave her.
right?
Number one. Yeah, they're gonna try to enslave him. That's gonna what's gonna happen.
Based off of that, he's on a huge disadvantage here.
Yeah, we're not sending.
What if
him.
you send him to his lands, and he's just another random Joe?
Instantly just a witch, bro.
Bro, he's got a mustache. He's got just a straight mustache. That's it. No beard, nothing.
It doesn't matter.
They're gonna ask, "How did you get your face so shaved clean?" Explain the razor blade now. Now, would you want to go to the future or would you want to go to the past?
Future? What do you mean?
Future? And then what? Oh, you went to the future, but remember, the future is gonna be all fucked up when you're like, "What the fuck's going on here?" So, what are you bringing back?
Bro, imagine you're just gambling on how far in the future you go. So, like, you never know when the end of the world is, but you just go too far.
If you would
sitting on roulette.
if you would have asked me this when I was a kid, I would have told you the hoverboard from Back to the Future.
That's what you would bring back, the
That's
hoverboard?
when I was a kid. That's what definitely.
Isn't that interesting? Like, at whatever stage of age stage you are in, like you're bringing certain things that are incredibly interesting, but then you look back and like, hoverboard probably been a dumb thing.
So I don't know. What would I bring back? Does it give me like a price range, like theoretical or size?
No, you're stealing this shit. This is coming for free with you.
I'm stealing it. Okay, even better.
Like you were
whatever assistant they're using at that time. Because if you were to think about it, right, like something like, imagine they have like a little ChatGPT on their shoulder. Whatever ChatGPT they have at that time, if I were to bring it back with me, it would already have all the information from my time to then, to the future, and also back, like all that in between. I mean,
so what you're saying, you would become Buff from Back to Future because you get the almanac, but in the form of a ChatGPT.
Yeah, but I mean,
so might as well just go back to the past right now and bring them the almanac.
No. They don't deserve all that. We went through those hard times.
Like,
to be
what
here.
if you went back and like, yo, right now Bitcoin is at 0.006. Just buy $100 worth. That's all you need, and just forget about it. Just don't lose your keys.
I mean,
Coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, right. That's like hindsight's always 20/20. Right?
Yeah, bro. Like, there's so many times. Like, I wish I knew this like gonna happen before it happened, but like we don't have that, right?
I remember, like, I even think about that now. Like, I'm only 23, but even like, for example, when I first started getting into building computers, started learning about like NVIDIA and like even seeing like, oh, they just released this huge contract with the military and all those things, and then seeing the stock go, boom. And I've never invested in stocks a day in my life, but I remember looking at that shit and going, damn, I should have did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But yeah, I don't know, man. It would be interesting. I don't know. Would I want to go back or going forward? I don't think I would. I'm okay right here. I'm fine right here. Well, you got other things to worry about. You got a wife. You got a kid. Like, that would be a little different there. For me, like, I'm a free agent. You know what I'm saying?
free agent,
free time traveler.
Yeah, time travel. Sign me up. Doctor Who. You know what I mean?
I don't know. How far in the future, like if they gave you the option, would you go though?
Bro, like this is what was gonna happen.
saying.
You go
You don't
far
know.
enough
You
into
have
the
to
future,
gamble.
then it's gonna be like some dumb shit. Oh, we're
already
in a
gone.
simulation, like, and you're in an NPC. You're like, and then you're like, fuck, like this sucks. You know, because we like to think we're the main character.
You
but
go
we're really
forward
not.
2,000 years and you just wake up in the same room as Neo and like that big ass shit where all the pods are. And you're like, what the fuck did I do? Oh shit! All right, boys, you guys want to wrap it up for tonight?
Okay, just one more. All right,
One more hypothetical.
Yeah. You're black. You go to the future, and you're back at segregation or
Damn, that
slavery.
you go like
Ain't
you're a
that some
minority and
bullshit?
you go forward to like get rid of all that. It's just like affecting
And
your
it
life
says
so much.
back. That's
That all
fucked.
right. So
That's almost worse.
if you
than
were
the Neo thing.
able to go back to the past, would you Hitler?
That's an often asked question.
Why wouldn't you? I mean,
Who else? Mussolini.
I would just be afraid to impact
That's what I'm
anything in the
saying.
past.
The butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of maybe the noble thing to do, maybe the right thing to do, but like
They
by
already
doing
have
that, you
people-
might fuck some shit up.
They already have
I mean,
people that
like,
opt
you
out,
could always
so-
say like, hey, look how bad Hitler was. Now we know to never allow anybody to get that bad. What if they didn't have that example and then somebody came up way worse?
Way
than
worse,
him?
yeah.
So
and that's the number one thing they tell you in history, like in growing up in like middle school and stuff like that, is main reason we learn about history is to not repeat our
Yeah.
mistakes.
What did they use before Hitler?
as their like
As their Hitler.
like who was the worst person?
Oh, I think like
beforehand?
Roman, like what Caesar?
Yeah, probably
and-
Napoleon was one.
yeah.
What's it? Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Was probably
Alexander
pretty,
the Great before that.
pretty bad
you know?
examples of bad
The
people. in high
Ottoman
power.
Empire
Mao.
after Mao.
Like
Mao.
Genghis Khan's like so far back though.
Still pretty bad
Shit,
example that a lot
so
of people
far
knew
back,
about.
his imprint is in every 200 person right now on planet Earth.
Yeah, I think
He's
that's
part of his DNA.
yeah.
He's in every 200 person on Earth has a part of his DNA. Well, there's a lot of Asian people just in China and in that region, right? So maybe that's how we're skewing the numbers a bit. But
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. All right, we're gonna end it there, boys, for tonight. Thank you, Matt, for coming on.
Thanks
again.
for having me,
We really
guys.
appreciate
Love
it.
it
Thanks, man.
every time,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
I cried.
Good conversations.
All right, so yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
peace.